Life Audio.
Welcome to the Crosswalk Devotional. We're glad to have you listening with us. Today's topic is how to invite God to light a fire of faith in you that inspires you to worship with gratitude. We'll return with the devotional after a brief message from our sponsors.
Did you know Gen Z and millennials are leading the resurgence in church attendance? New research from Glue and Barna shows that they're now attending church more often than older generations. That's a historic shift. And behind this discovery is Glue, spelled Gloo. Glue has a mission to serve those who serve, pastors, leaders, publishers, and more. And they do it by connecting the faith ecosystem with the latest research, technology, and values-aligned AI. That's high tech for a higher purpose. See the research yourself. Just text the word JOIN to 46816. Again, that's JOIN to 46816.
From director Sean McNamara comes Soul on Fire, based on a true story.
They said you had no chance, but here you are.
Starring Joel Courtney, John Corbett, Stephanie Shostak, Macy McLean, with Devon Franklin and William H. Macy.
If you focus exactly on loving the life that you're living right now, and not the life that you think you could have had or should have had, that's the whole deal right there.
Soul on Fire, rated PG, parental guidance suggested. Now playing. For tickets, go to soulonfiremovie.com.
Soul on Fire.
Let God light a fire in you, written and read by Whitney Hopler. Therefore, since we are receiving a kingdom that cannot be shaken, let us be thankful, and so worship God acceptably with reverence and awe, for our God is a consuming fire. Hebrews 12:28-29 NIV. When possible, I love to light a candle to use during my evening prayer and meditation time. There's something powerful about looking at a bright flame and reflecting on how God's light brings hope into the darkness of this fallen world. There are so many ways that God burns brightly, through his passionate love, through his unlimited power, through his wisdom that enlightens us, and much more. This Bible passage tells us that our God is a consuming fire. A physical fire purifies what's around it as it gives off light and heat. When we draw close to God's fire, he begins to burn away the impurities in our lives, such as sin, fear, doubt, and selfishness. The process can be uncomfortable, but it cleanses us and makes us more like Jesus. At the same time, God's fire ignites a passion within us that fuels our faith and lights up our path so we can see where we're going. A faith that has been touched by the fire of God shines brightly, drawing others in and pointing them toward the source of the flame. We can learn from these verses that we are receiving a kingdom that cannot be shaken. Everything in our world can be shaken. Our relationships can end, we can lose our jobs, our health can fail, and we can lose much more in this world that's full of uncertainty. But God's kingdom is unshakable. It's the ultimate safe place, because we're cared for there by our loving and powerful Creator. The passage continues by saying, let us be thankful. In response to being included in God's kingdom, we should have an attitude of gratitude that inspires us to look beyond our changing circumstances to our unchanging God, who always loves us. When we focus on the unshakable hope we have in God, it's easier to feel thankful, even when we're going through temporary situations that are shaky. The Bible then guides us to worship God acceptably with reverence and awe. These two words, reverence and awe, involve getting to know God better and growing in your respect for God and your ability to notice and be inspired by God's wonder. The closer you grow to God, the more you can experience God's unlimited power, his perfect holiness, and his unending love for you. You can move from knowing about God to truly knowing God. When you do, you'll be so inspired with wonder that you'll naturally be motivated to worship God. You won't be able to help being amazed by who God is. So don't be afraid to move closer to God's fire. Invite God to burn away what doesn't belong in your life. Ask God to set your heart on fire with his love. As you invite God to light a fire in you, you'll find your faith becoming stronger, and you'll feel the consuming fire of God's love. Intersecting faith and life. As you consider how to invite God to light a fire of faith in you, reflect on these questions. What shaky things in your life are causing you anxiety right now? How does focusing on God's unshakable kingdom change your perspective on them? What are 3 specific blessings you're thankful for today? How can you turn that thankfulness into worship? When was the last time you felt a sense of awe in God's presence? What happened, and how can you seek out more experiences like that? Since God can act as a consuming fire in your life, which impurities, like a bad habit or a recurring fear, would you like God to burn away first? What is an area of your life where you need God's fire to bring more passion? How can you cooperate with God to ignite that spark? Further reading, Deuteronomy 4:24, Malachi 3:2-3, 2 Timothy 1:6-7, Isaiah 6:3-5, Psalm 96:9.
The Crosswalk Devotional is a production of Life Audio and Salem Media. If you liked what you heard today, please take a second to rate and review this podcast in your favorite podcast app so that more listeners like you can find the show. For more faith-filled, inspirational podcasts, visit us at lifeaudio.com.
For some of us, personal finances aren't just personal. They include loved ones, neighbors, the communities we call home, and the causes we hold in our hearts. At Thrivent, planning your finances is bigger than just money. We help you put your plans into motion and faith into action so you can do more for the ones in your heart. Because sometimes all you need to make a difference is someone to help you make it happen. Thrivent, where money means more. Connect with us at Thrivent.com.